realized that as an opportunity. And I guess as far as how it really translates directly into the work that I do, every design is designed for the seasons. The tagline of my company is beyond the seasons. It's beyond that. So we have color year round. Think about fragrance and texture. You know, there's so many options when it comes to plant material. I mean, it's so exciting. Right now, the locust trees are blooming. You can walk down the street, and you get that whiff, that sweet whiff, and you know most people.
Oh, I noticed.
You know what it is, but I mean, there's a whole progression of plant material blooming and fragrance, and that's just one aspect. Then you have the textures of the different leaves and the different degrees of green, color, and you know, it's just that's the fun. I mean, it's kind of a puzzle putting everything together, and turn around. Yeah. And the thing that really intrigued me and always has, and one of the reasons that I think landscape architecture really spoke to me was that with a building, you build a building, and the building is done. The building never changes. The building just sits there. If anything, it starts to deteriorate. Whereas the landscape, you install it, and it's constantly changing. It's changing from season to season, from day to day even, from season to season, from year to year. You know, it's growing, it's developing. I just think that's really intriguing. It's really exciting. It is, absolutely. It's exciting. So,
how has your landscape architecture career changed? Like, has the spirituality component grown over, you know, and how did it start growing, and how did you, I mean, maybe you had it from the beginning of your career, but what kind of was the motivation if it wasn't from the beginning?
The real catalyst, and it wasn't from the beginning. The real catalyst for me, quite honestly, was I took some business classes because I didn't know anything about business. I had no business training. I had no clue what I was getting into as far as running a business.
You were an artist,
and and I realized, you know, I'm like, if this is gonna go anywhere, I really seriously need to figure out what like a business plan is. Why do you have a business plan? Why don't we need one of those? You know, I got the business. Right. Why do I need a plan? So I actually took some classes at the Women's Business Development Center, just some basic, you know, marketing, finance, doing your business plan, that kind of thing. And there was one class it was about business identity that expresses your soul, kind of thing. And I thought, that sounds intriguing. And you know, I think I'm kind of speaking for everyone here, but I think everybody here probably had like some little spark. Like you were kind of looking for something. You know, it's like things are just a little off kilter, and I'm, you know, searching for, okay, what is it? Books, and you listen to this, and you see that, and I took that class, and it brought together this group of women who were just so outrageous and outstanding. I mean, just so amazing. And then we as a group came to find Karen, and you know, she facilitated a group for us, and that really was kind of a spark that really, and things just exploded from there. You know, it's like you said, it's like the mirror, broken mirrors. Once you open Pandora's box, you know, you just can't put it back in. And that was, you know, and then it was, I mean, I've never been a reader. I've never ever been a strong reader. It's like pulling teeth. But I never read anything. I listened really well, and that's how I got by in school. And I guess well. I speak C. But you know, seriously, after you know this whole kind of awakening, I could like book after book after book. It was so exciting. I was just like so thirsty for this knowledge and all of these ideas. It was so exciting to me, and you know, it's just been one thing after another. And as soon as I start to feel like, okay, I kind of know about this thing, like 10 more things come up. I'm like, oh,
yeah, wow.
There's always more, and it's just so exciting, and it's so much fun. And you know, actually started to just physically incorporate some of these things into my office, into the environment, into the space. From incorporating a water feature into our reception area. We're going to be we had the hall. We're up on the second floor of an old building out in the suburbs of Batavia, and we're hanging banners up. We're just doing things to really inspirational quotes and things like that. This just makes it a little more fun, I guess. I don't know.
And I think what happens is if we let it, we can dissolve the barrier between those two worlds. So it's not like an either or. I think that we all struggle with this incorporation, integration of our spiritual life into the very physical world. And so it begins to feel like an either or. Like when I'm at work, I have to be, I'm all analytics and get it done and driven. But there's this other piece of us that's hungry for expression and for meaning and to be filled from what it is that we do. And I think that once you begin to acknowledge that, the more that you let all of you, which includes that spiritual piece, be present, the more it has to be incorporated into your physical space, the more it begins to kind of leak out and take over in your life, and you want to be surrounded by those things that remind you of the whole you, not just a piece of you, but the whole you. And anybody who makes it to one of these meetings, I just know that there are people who are in a place where it's time for them to be able to walk with a foot, what I call a foot in two worlds, where that dissolving that barrier between the worlds, it's really about incorporating and integrating and actually living as examples to other people. Everybody's not ready to do that, but I do think that right where we are, to begin to acknowledge that you do have a spirit, and that spirit is just as valid as if not more so than the mind, and that when you incorporate that in, fabulous things happen. There's I say that there's a place where our experiences and our training, that's all that left hemisphere, the stuff we do well, we've been trained to do, meets our aspirations. What is your heart calling you to do? And our strengths. There are things that each one of us do without even thinking about it. It was really easy for you, like drafting. I would probably be really mechanical at it. It was a really easy thing for you, you took to it. Well, each one of us has those things that just naturally are part of who we are. When your natural strengths meet what your heart is calling you to with what you've already been trained to do, it's like an explosion. Like that's your sweet spot. But most of us never really examine the aspirations or the strengths. We don't choose to pull them in. We just keep working on history. Like, okay, this is what I've been trained to do. This is what I do really well in my career, if you will. But when we invite all those people in, come on in.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll probably
Get up.
drink for a
Okay.
while.
Then it's an amazing place. And when you come to that place where those three things come together, that veil disappears. Because what you're doing is you're inviting all of you, the physical you, the heart, connected you, and the stuff that comes just as strengths. So it's beautiful to see, and I think once you go there, you can't go back. There's no backpedaling into not knowing or not recognizing. So part of the Zesty Living is to provide also a community where people can come and be reminded that you can do it. You can do it. You can have these worlds come together, and whatever your dream, whatever your heart's calling you to is meant for you. So we look to each other for support. To say, I see you. I see what you're bringing to us. Come on with it. Come